a wannabe controlling dictatorship type of energy amongst our own people. So for those who might not have the personal self-confidence or the access to teachers that have the wisdom, like brothers like you, or a lot of the other master teachers that have been on here, what would you tell them in regards to tapping into that next level of energy, or even like trying to open up their mind? Let's talk about the mind to like access brain levels like Lucy.
Learn self-talk. If you don't do nothing else, the art and science of self-talk, you can navigate your own self to whatever you want to do. You got to learn. We got to remember, Michael Jordan wasn't the greatest of all time in basketball when he was 13. He didn't know how to play basketball. He had to learn how to play basketball, but his passion at the time was baseball. But instead of pursuing baseball, he settled on basketball and became the GOAT. So this telling you that because you don't know how to do something, don't mean the potential to learn is not present with you, right? Malachi got a book called Your Potential, right? And it's talking about you can do whatever you train yourself to do. You got to be willing to practice. You have to have a desire to want to learn something in order for you to apply yourself. You're not going to learn something you ain't got no interest in. I don't care who try to force it down your throat. You're not going to learn it. You're going to try to ignore it. But if you're interested in, you're going to focus, you're going to concentrate, and you're going to pay attention. Focus, concentration, and attention means active downloading of the methodology of the thing you didn't know that you're interested in knowing. And you got to remember, when you first learn something, cognitive dissonance is there, but if you wait a little while, it'll settle and you'll understand it better. Don't try to understand everything as soon as you hear it or see it. Sometimes you just got to sit with the information because your subconscious mind have a unique ability to make stuff connect for you. We call that planting a seed. And all you have to do, plant your own seed. And whatever it is you want to learn, you can learn it. It ain't nothing. You could be 50 years old and still go to school and learn how to be a brain surgeon. It ain't no time limit on learning. The only thing that's a limit on learning is the ambition to learn. That's the only limit. And you can do way more than you know, but you've been told you can't do shit because you didn't come from shit. So all you can be is a piece of shit because you practicing being shit, the waste product of the intestines. And as long as you practicing being a waste product, you're going to be a product of waste.
Oh man, I love it. Oh man. Oh man. Okay. So I'm gonna take a breath and just really try to figure this out. All right. So now I want to figure out. All right. I'm gonna give thanks to the ancestors, man, because without them, none of this is happening. Because this is like the second one of them one shows in less than a week, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I already knew this one was gonna be one of the ones too. But
Hey, look, Yin Yang Princess say rise above emotions.
yeah,
Learn to read your emotion instead of reacting to your emotion.
Yeah.
Learn to read your emotion, but you first have to calibrate emotionally by determining if your emotions is in proper context to the circumstances and situation that elicits the emotion. If it's an out of context emotion, that means you have a thinking error in relation to the subject matter. Learn to read your emotions and you won't have to rise above them. You can use them as a navigation system for your Earth rover. That's what the purpose of it is.
That's real deep. Because I was just talking to the Young Kings like a week or two ago about that topic with emotions and energy and motion. and how, you know what I'm saying, to like be able to tap into like that inner self, that first eye, third eye, mind's eye, Ori, whatever you want to call it, being able to tap into that neo-ness in this matrix, being the one, being able, and let's go back to the mother. Shout out to Sophia Stewart, the author of the book, The Third Eye, which led to the Matrix and to the Terminator. They all that, right? That came back to Big Mama. What we talking about, all those movies that we saw, Matrix, Terminator, and a bunch of other movies, all came from the vision of the matriarch, the mother, Sophia
There's
Stewart.
two movies we always leave out that's inspired by them series.
Which two?
I, Robot. That's the middle. That's the rise of the machines. I, Robot. When the machine started doing its own thing. And it's another one called AI. It's about a little boy. He'll never grow up because he's artificial intelligence. He's a robot, he's an android. But those were inspired by the Terminator and the Matrix.
Yes, sir. That's deep. Which came from the mother, the feminine energy. Okay, so let me ask you this. In regards to Doc, shout out to Doc, Freedom Master Teacher, Dr. York. What was the significance of him building Tamarie in Georgia? And for those who don't know what Tamarie is, can you kind of share with the tribe like what Tamarie was and where it was built and why?
So the words Tamarie is short for Tamiri and Ray, which is Ra. Tamiri is the great mother, and Ra is the great father. It's the kinetic representation of the hierarchy of the family structure. The story that we know as the holy drama, Osiris versus Set, the slaying of Osiris, the Isis birthing Heru to redeem the father and redeem the throne from his wicked uncle. That's a blueprint. It's a map. It's a instructional guide for the rightful heir, which is the persona called Heru or Emmanuel biblically, right? To reclaim the father's throne from his wicked uncle. Noble Ali wrote, "Beware your uncle, he'll sell you into slavery." Right? Oh. So the wicked uncle is the symbol for the system that has went astray from the path that the throne is supposed to hold. Right? He ain't wicked in truth, he's wicked in error. So we look at where does the error come in? Because the wisdom is in the error. When you understand what the Freudian slip is for, it's the sudden outburst of truth in the middle of a discussion. Right? So you learn to read the error, and then you can see the wisdom in the error of our ways.
Can you repeat the first part of that again? Because like that, a lot of people might know it, but for real, like that's deep because like even in my own mind, I heard it reverberate. It was echoing because you said some real shit with that. Can you repeat that one more time about the Freudian slip?
The Freudian slip is the accidental exposure of the truth in the middle of a discussion. It's the revelation of truth where it shouldn't be. A Freudian slip in psychology, psychiatry mean that you blurted something out that you did not intend to say. You said the quiet part out loud. It's a Freudian slip. The Freudian slip reveals the truth that's concealed.
That's deep. That's real deep. Okay, so now because it's concealing this, it's bringing to the forefront the truth that's concealed, right? So, man, look, let me ask you this since we're talking about that, because for one, there's a lot of revelations that I feel like took place tonight already, especially when you talk about ancient Kemet and like being the origin of it being here in Turtle Island, also known as America, also known as the Corporation of the U.S. Right. But then you also mentioned that Tupac has a tie and a connection to King Tut, and also with the Grand Canyon in Arizona and Amaru, the Amaru tribe. Can you kind of go a little deeper into that connection in regards to like Pac, Amaru, and the connection to the Grand Canyon and the Grand Canyon's connection to Kemet?
Well, remember, Grand Canyon is the original, Kemet is the replica.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. The Amaru is known in ancient times as the Nagas.
Mm.
The Nagas kings used to use the serpent for a symbol. The serpent symbol is wisdom. And like I come from the monkey tribe. So monkey see snake. The monkey don't have to watch the snake to know where he at. He can go in the bushes and the monkey could be looking in the other direction. But if he come anywhere else outside the bushes toward where we at, the monkey already know. Monkey see snake. Monkey don't forget where snake at. He can see him with his third eye, his monkey mind, Sako Mao. He can pay attention to the movement of the serpent. So Tupac Amaru means the wise serpent. So it tells the Monkey King, watch the wise serpent, and he gonna tell you the story. This is ancient. This go all the way back to Atlantis or the Great Atlan. And we use these methods to change systems at the close of every age. This is not our first rodeo. And every one of the ones, they have to identify themselves in a coded manner. Right? So remember, Tupac got shot at Quad Studio. And the realest shit I ever wrote, he said gunshots to Tuck, now he's stuck. Fuck the rap game. This is M.O.B.
Believe.
Everybody thought he was talking about some dude from New York they called King Tut, who was a stick-up boy.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't talking about him. He was self-identifying. Following the instructions that he got from Haitian Jack. How do I know he got the instructions from Haitian Jack? Because he said, listen while I take you back and lace this track, the real live tale about a snitch named Haitian Jack.
Yeah. Knew he was right about the feds. Yeah.
It's codes. Tupac got codes all through his music.
We about to go deep, deep, deep.
So when you know who you are, it helps you to see who everybody else was. No, Christopher Wallace was Chief Sitting Bull. If you go to Google and you write, put in Biggie Small sitting, you're just gonna see a whole bunch of pictures of him sitting down. Why? Because Chief Sitting Bull was sitting on his post, didn't want to get his lazy ass up. So he got to get thrashed in the public without responding. He got to take that shit because he know he was wrong for letting the enemy come in and don't sound the alarm. Meanwhile, old dirty bastard embodying the energy of Chief Crazy Horse is telling you the truth while everybody else is calling him crazy. Only one of the chiefs is going to pay this Shinnecock chief any attention because he's Crazy Horse. Right? And I'm going on with this because there's a whole bunch of them. I can rattle off Chief Zolo. That's Darkman X, DMX. He always on the heels of Tupac. The Great Father walked with a black dog on his heels. Chief Zolo. The Zolo hairless Mexican dog was named after Chief Zolo. Chief Zolo reincarnated as DMX, Earl Simmons. Right? I can keep going on and on, but you get what I'm saying. So Tupac ties. His job was to face meet as many chiefs as he could, and then put them out front. Curtis Jackson, Big 50, right? Old Louisiana Conjure Man with the Unbreakable Conjure, the March of the Mayors, the 50 Sisters Resurrection. The 50 Sisters have to come if the 50 niggas fail, or the 50 Nagas, right? The only way they can fail is if they don't call for the sisters. So they can't never fail. If they go into war and they win in the war to overthrow the industry from the inside, what industry? The Hollywood industry, music, movies, artistic expression, and the right to your artistic materials. This was their war. Where other people was fighting political wars on the political front with imposters. But the politics is irrelevant because all politicians is puppets. We want where the real power at. We want the ones behind the scene, right? Haile Selassie came back as Nipsey Hussle, the emperor. He gonna always, wherever he go, he gonna always find a way to be welcome the motherfucking boss. That's just his nature. He can't help it. What's royalty in you, it's got to be expressed outwardly, right? It just so happened that he was loyal to the 60s. And it wasn't the 60s who put the hit on him. And don't make me show you the hit.
Man. Oh. Oh man, it's a classic. Okay.
E40 is the connector. Use the shield of the music industry to join the chiefs behind the scenes. Everywhere you go, meet with the local chiefs. Let them know we coming back for everything they owe. It just so happened they owe us everything. 40 water. That's 2020. See clear through the water.
So let me ask you this, because Pop, this is dope. Like, this is dope because I had no idea this was gonna go here today, but because like I it's certain ones that's just them ones for me, and Pop was one of them ones. Like I said, just like El High. So Pop, like I read a lot about stuff that I didn't know, even just in this book, his book of poems, you know, The Road That Grew from Concrete. And it's like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what Pop was. And I know people knew Pop, and I know they knew.
I gotta say something. Hold on. I gotta say something. Nip ain't dead. Don't believe that bullshit. Nip ain't gone nowhere. Y'all gonna see him when y'all see Tupac. He ain't gone nowhere either. Biggie ain't gone nowhere either. But sometimes you have to get out the people's way in order for the people to get free, and you can't clog up the lane. Everybody you think dead ain't dead. Pimp C stay getting on my nerve, talking about, come on, man, brother need to be sane. Come on, hurry up with your work, man. He get on my nerves with that shit. He always coming to me telling me, come on, man, you know how it is. The pimp need to be sane, man. They can't see me back here. Wherever he hiding out at, extracted is the right word. Wherever Pimp C hiding out at, he don't like it there because he can't be seen how he want to be seen.
Bruh, man, listen, you really going? We going?
Aaliyah Left Eye is on Sabi Ranch in Honduras.
Say it one more time.
Aaliyah Left Eye on Sabi Ranch in Honduras, but not the ranch everybody be going to. He had another one. It's a safe haven. Come on, man. We ain't finna just we tired of losing our good people to rotten shit. We had to come up with a counteroffensive. When we determined that they got a mark on their head to execute them, they not staying. They can say what they want in the public. They could tell the story and slant it however they want in the news. Go back and look at Benghazi at Tupac holding that AK-47, and that'll explain something to you.
Okay.
This shit is global, man. This is deeper than we can talk about because there's so much that people are misled to believe. Right? Ibrahim Traore is not he handpicked by the big mamas in the land. This is why when you see all of the countries a couple days ago, every country in Africa had a hands-off Ibrahim Traore parade. Leave that man alone. I'm telling you, it's the worst thing you can do is martyr him right now.
If you touch him, boy, listen, because you got people. I'm telling you, you got the Dessalines energy. You like, it's a lot of energy at play right now.
He pushing for Patrice Lumumba, Stephen Biko energy. He coming Stephen Biko, Patrice Lumumba, liberate my people energy. He ain't playing. And he ain't that easy to get to. Everybody know that he's doing what's right. Everybody, even the people that don't like him doing what's right, know he doing what's right by his people. That's going to affect all of us.
Yes, sir.
He's Shaka Zulu right now.
I look at him as the embodiment of Ogun, which I don't see them too far apart because he got that.
I'm just saying.
He got that.
I'm just saying. They don't want to see these old goons, these A1 bogarts flying in from all over the place to set the record straight.
Well, it's too late. It's too late anyway because they're already here.
It ain't nothing they could do. It's over with. The old system has fallen. Babylon fell in your face, but you didn't see it because you thought that it was going to look different. You still waiting on a stringy hair hippie on a cloud to come surfing down with a Philharmonic orchestra and another cloud following him, playing We Shall Overcome as he ride down to save all our souls from being sinners. That ain't going to never happen.
That revolution ain't televised. This the real revolution, and nigga is here for everybody.
I tell them my revolution might not be televised, but this show gonna play the fuck out on social media.
Yes, sir. Yeah, boy.
Look, we got soldiers in this struggle over here, right? I start naming them. Phase 1, Yaki Awaken, 19 Keys. I could go on and on with this, but we don't have to keep going there. We just have to be aware that it's over for them. Their time is up. Our time is now. This is the sea nation y'all gonna see. A sea of niggas having Mardi Gras from coast to coast with boots on the ground asking them sisters where your fans at. Because the shit about to hit it. Because these shit kicking boots when they kick this shit straight up to the fans.
Mm-hmm. That part. Yes, sir. All righty then. So, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Look, the old Mississippians, Mississippi Delta Blues is the root to all music that came out of the Americas. Everybody that became a major artist have old Mississippian codes in their music. I don't give a fuck if it's Madonna. I don't care if it's Elvis Presley. I don't care if it's Wayne Newton. All of the big stars that rose up practicing rock and roll, R&B, soul, pop, jazz, bebop, hard bop, ragtime, they all telling us codes in their music that if you ain't no Mississippian, you may never catch.
Okay. So now when we talk about, because we know Mississippi is a major staple in regards to our story, not his story, but our story, right? Especially when we talk about Turtle Island, aka
Mississippi spelled Miss Isis on pie.
That's what I want to get to is like, okay, so when we talk about that, because even the river, what's the significance of the Mississippi River?
The Mississippi River is the lifeline of the land, and it has multiple tributaries throughout the land that feed into it. The Mississippi used to be our commerce travel network. The old Mississippian tribes used to patrol it with boats. They call it river boats now. The river boats used to deliver goods up and down the Mississippi to be taken to the different parts of the land because we ain't had no goddamn grocery stores. These grocery stores got motherfuckers spoiled rotten with this spoiled rotten ass food in them. Right? We didn't have grocery stores. We delivered fresh goods on a regular basis to the local community up and down the Mississippi, and they took it into their community and divvied it up to the people. We ain't had no problem feeding nobody before 1492. We didn't know what homelessness was because we didn't know everybody got a home, because if you can have a house, you can go to Big Mama house. Everybody, ain't no orphans. All of the babies belong to all of the grown folks that got some sense, right? So we didn't have that shit. Somebody gonna take you in. And the Mississippi River is where the Mississippi clay dirt formed the humans.
Whew. Oh man, okay. For the Mississippi clay dirt formed the humans. So now does that go back to like all the way back like to the creation story? Because we was having a little friendly debate. Not I wouldn't say debate, but conversation on the live I had the other night where I think it has something to do with in regards to who are the real pyramid slash, or I should say, who are the real mound slash pyramid builders. So can you kind of share for us, because I think it stemmed from the oldest, like who pretty much was the progenitor of humanity. And my take is it was a black woman. And I think there's different, names that they call it. I don't know if it's Ardipithecus or whatever, Lucy, whatever they call it. But can you kind of tap
Lucy
into
wasn't a human.
Who was okay?
Lucy was a species called proconsul. It was like an ancient chimp.
Mm.
The oldest human was found over here.
Okay.
It was a woman.
What's the name? What's the name of it?
That's
something that's what I was trying to figure out. But it's like that show was a solo show, so it's hard to like do what I could do when I'm on another show with looking up stuff real quick. But I know is the oldest human remains ever found was of a womb man. So that's what my I was trying to.
If you go back far enough, you're gonna run out of Y chromosome. The Y chromosome, the male, has only been here about 65 to 100,000 years Earth time. Men ain't always been here. Women used to give birth through parthenogenesis until they put Luna up there to block out and control their menstrual cycles. That's the turn off the parthenogenesis. I'm just saying.
Now that's deep, because that goes back to what we're talking about with the solar cycles and the transformations, because you just said that was all tied to the lunar cycle. So now, does that same lunar cycle energy have any influence on us as a planet, or especially us as a people, where we are now during this transition into the Aquarius?
It took the women a couple thousand years to figure out the energy of the moon and how it was affecting them. Before that, our night sky was not lit up by this current spaceship they call the moon. Our night sky was lit up by a Saturn moon called Lilith. Right? The Lilith moon made everything look like it was under a black light in the nightclub. Everything used to glow. This is the major difference. Heaven was on Earth. Heaven always been on Earth. The problem is that some goddamn devils came to heaven and fucked it up.
And I talked about that too. So now them devils, because to my recollection or my studies, those devils that you're talking about now, that pretty much you haul the moon in from another solar system. Are you, when your story from, let me see if it's the same as my story, but are you talking about the Draconians who came and brought their moon from, was it Maldek, the Maldekians that brought it in here that took control over the Piscean age of the lunar cycle? Is that?
That's the story that explains the towing of the moon. They don't have to tow it though. That motherfucker fly. It's a battleship.
Can you share
it's a Death Star.
And there was a movie or a show that was like tied to that, right?
More than likely. They wrote books about it.
Yeah, because I heard about that part before the Death Star, but I know it as the real story that we're talking about, which is those beings who came over here that used that fake moon to. Okay, can you share a little bit of that?
So the Death Star, if you go to Star Trek, this is where you find the Death Star at. It's the ship that Darth Vader rides. Right? That's the Death Star. The moon that we have now was not the original moon of the Earth. The original moon of the Earth is the moon of Saturn, called Lilith. This is why during the dark phases of the moon, the ancient bloodline women become stronger for those 3 days when Luna is darkened out, because they're getting direct Lilith energy. This is why the Jews hate Lilith, because the Lilith energy, it galvanizes the power of the divine feminine, and they want to subjugate the energy of the divine feminine. And so this is why they put the moon up there, because women used to decide when they was going to give birth once man was created. Once they decide when they going to give birth, they would have about 3 menstrual cycles, right? 2 cleansing cycles and 1 birth preparation cycle. And then they would take on the man to impregnate them, right? They got us under some other shit that's the women can't control it, so they need birth control. The women can't stop herself from getting pregnant, so she need an abortion. Ain't none of that shit natural to us. Ain't none of it natural to us. All that is stuff that was imposed on us by people that called themselves the gods. They not gods. They just some technologically advanced beings that had to try to figure out how to conquer the women of the earth. But we ain't gonna never let y'all win if it takes 6,000 years to kick y'all in the ass. I'm the last resort. They gonna call me at the end when everybody else don't get it right, because I'm gonna put foot in their ass up to my knee and walk around with them like shoes.
You ain't alone either.
No, because we come in teams. Everything I'm doing on social media, Ibrahim Traore is playing it out in the 3D world.
And then it's also being played out in the spiritual world. So
it came from the spiritual world first.
Yes, sir.
So we already won.
Yes, sir.
Because we spiritually, in the spirit realm, we've been kicked their ass. Now we just getting the imposters out.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to go through this cycle again.
Oh my God, the divine alignment is just so dope. So can you break down these cycles? Because like I said, I always try to be conscientious of like where people are, because we're all in different phases of our journey on consciousness. So when you break down cycles, can you kind of share what a cycle is in regards to like what we are dealing with in real time, and then where is that going to go once we get through this cycle?
Is every 26,000 years. That's a cycle. It's a yuga. Every 26,000 Earth years is a great yuga. The great yuga is broke up into 4 seasonal periods called ages or eons. And each eon is roughly 6,000 years. And once you finish one cycle, then you have to rewrite a whole new cycle. The last cycle, which brought us through the age of Pisces, was unceremoniously interrupted by warfare. So we all had to adapt our spiritual skills to learn how to fight warfare from the spiritual to the physical. A lot of what we face with is from ancient wars. These are the remnants. But now, at the close of this cycle, it's the close of the lunar cycle, it's the close of the Piscean age, it's the close of the great wheel cycle of 26,000 years, right? 24 to 26, depending on which calendar we're using. So once the cycle ends, as an eternal being, we have to do a reset. And the reset, it takes place upon mass awakening to the transfer of frequency, right? So we moving from the Piscean frequency where everybody head was underwater and everything you thought you was looking at was slightly off center. Just like looking underwater, what you looking at is slightly off center. When you underwater looking out the water, everything's look murky. This is the pattern of the Piscean age. And as long as stuff is not clear because of the time frame, then you're not really seeing, you have to believe. But once you get beyond belief, where you go to knowing, at the closing of the age, all of them converge. So this is the closing of the 24,000 year cycle. This is the closing of the period or the eon or the age called Pisces, Piscean age. This is the closing of the 6,000 year cycle. The 6,000 year cycle is most critical because the 6,000 years was how long they had before the close of the Great Wheel. And now that it's being closed, everything goes back to the original gods or the original beings in order for them to restore back to balance to everything.
Yep. And that's what brings us back to, the matriarchal, society, being led and being under the nurturing of the mother, and that goes back into the cosmic mother. So, man, this is dope. So regarding the cosmos and the cycles that, we're going through, and then like where we are now, what's the timeline that you see with Big Mama, getting ready to go ahead and exterminate and extract these parasites?
I don't
Out of the
get
land?
timelines because the time is unpredictable.
Gotcha.
They've altered the frequency for time. So no man know the day or the hour, only the women know.
Mm,
So I ain't finna act like I know something I don't know.
I like that.
But you can see signs of it. All you got to do is watch the fall of America continue to fall, which is the symbol for the fall of Babylon. As you see Trump dismantling the corporation and restoring the people back to the power, then you seeing everything operating the way it's supposed to. Just follow the narrative and don't participate in their shenanigans because they're gonna try to emotionally activate you into negative emotions to try to draw the frequency back down, but they can't stop us from rising.
Man, I love that you said that too, man, because that's another point that I've really been trying to drive home to people that I speak to that I know on a personal level is like, take inventory or take hold of your energy, your intentions, and all the things that you're doing, because right now with this shift, when we talking about Big Mama like exterminating these parasites, let me ask you this, because your opinion might be different from mine, but is there a race or skin complexion tied
No,
to that energy
no,
of the parasite? Okay, thank you,
no.
because that we on the same. Then we on the same page, because
It's a
that's what.
vibration in the frequency. Okay. How it's going to work is this. It's going to be what's called the Great Solar Flare. The Great Solar Flare then is going to activate the core of the Earth to send out the parasite cleansing frequency. Everybody that don't belong here, they can't stay here. If you ain't the original people of Earth, and I don't care what skin color you is, because it's original people from all skin colors. But if you ain't from the original people of the earth, your mitochondria is just going to be turned off unceremoniously. That's like turning your brain off mid-step or turning your heart off mid-step. It's the same,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So it's going to be solar flare, Schumann resonance spike, parasites drop.
bro, that's so dope.
But we get to have some fun first.
I promise you, I promise you, I've been sharing that with people for a minute now. But it's the last. I want to ask you this, because this is something, especially with you and I. We ain't even known each other a week. Hell, I don't even know if it's been 4 days, but that don't matter, because we've known each other for eternities. I feel like spiritually or energetically, but in this present time right now, I've known you for maybe 4 days. I don't know, but whatever. Um, I personally started sharing with people within the last year and a half, year and almost close to 2 years, about this is it. This is a wrap. This is the big. I call it the solar system. This is the Super Bowl of the solar system in regards to what we're seeing and witnessing right now on this planet and this extraction.
It's
I,
funny you say that because as soon as it's over, we going to have delegates from places. They going to look so strange to us. But they coming from everywhere because when we liberated the Earth realm, everything that was under Enlil's control was liberated. Galaxies, because they went about in they ship as it passed through other galaxies, conquering, and they just picked the wrong place when they came to Earth.
Mm. Oh man. And I'm still keeping it I'm keeping it quite PG-13, because when I tell you, bro, like that's so dope, because I've been saying that, and I think being the type of person, and I'm gonna bring this up too, because right now we've been in 2 hours and 32 minutes. We got damn near 1,000 people. We about 600 something. But anyway, that's real. But you said something in another interview I was watching the other day, and it resonated with me on another level because I could relate to it. And what it was, you were saying that you don't even like social media. You
Man,
don't
I
like,
hate social media with a passion.
you and me both. And that's the thing. But see, I know it's a different level of vibration and different level of beingness, because for me, I don't need or want attention, none of that. But I know what I was called to do, and I know my gift. So I don't want the problems of not being obedient to Big Mama and to Spirit. So therefore, I
And look,
have to, what I
I
know.
tried. I tried to run away. I tried to refuse. I had no right of refusal on this one. I didn't want to go on social media. I would have rather went on the lecture circuit than social media. But no, I'm gonna whoop your ass spiritually until you conform to what I need you to do, not what I want you to do. The requirement for me to use social media was to follow the path of least resistance, to access the most amount of people using the public domain format in order to meet with the tribal tradition, where we used to stand in the town square and there used to be somebody that read out the public information several times a day to make sure everybody heard it for a period of time. Now, based on modern legalities or legal systems, we use what's called a timestamp archivable dated format, which has a reach of more than 1,000 people. All social media platforms, whether it be it Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, YouTube, Rumble, it don't matter. They all have more than 1,000 people have access to it. So then it becomes actionable by putting it in the public domain, following the traditions of the tribe. So that's why I use social media. But believe me, I tried to duck this. When them niggas saw slam their doors in my face, I was like, okay, I do what I do. So I don't like social media. I never liked it, but it's a means to an end. And in this particular situation, to get this information to as many people as willing to receive it, I use whatever is required, and I don't have to like it, but I will perform my function because I don't want no more of them spiritual ass whoopings. I'd rather for 3 big niggas to come beat my ass on the corner than get another spiritual ass whooping. Them the worst ass whoopings you could ever get.
Well, when I tell you, look, when I tell you, when you said that, it resonated with me, because I feel you, and I feel the same way, because I don't need any of like the fanfare. Like I don't need or want any of that, but I also know what I signed up to do. So I have to, you know what I'm saying, I have to be obedient to that. But when you said that, it resonated, because there's not a lot of people that I personally have seen or listened to or watched their work that has came out and said that publicly. I've said it privately to people who I know personally, that I don't like social media and I don't want to be on it, because I really don't give a shit about it. But I know I came here to do a job, and that job has to be done, and I committed to that. So when you said that, it was dope, because I was like, oh, it's somebody else who feel that way too. But with that, um, I feel like that's what makes this type of work more honorable, because it's not like it's done for the facade or the praise. You know, say all the other foolishness that unfortunately we do have some people who are doing things for that particular reason, right? But that's why I asked the question in regards to how do you feel about the intentions or the energy or the frequency with people right now, and does race or color or melanin matter? Because it really is about the frequency. Because you said something, I don't know how many people caught it, but when you said there are beings who operate in the next level of dimensions or frequencies who are of all colors and races, that's a real thing, because now we're talking about energy signatures, and we're talking about auric and ethereal and energy existences, which Your melanin ain't gonna give you a pass to get to that level of frequency if you on the bullshit. So for that, is it like, can you kind of share just like how real that is and how important it is for us to like really work on operating at the highest optimum energetic frequency that we can in order to get to the next dimension and avoid being part of the extraction or extermination when Big Mama come and do what she do?
Um, from you gotta remember, humans can see less than 1% of the light spectrum. Other beings can see larger chunks of the light spectrum. The physiology of the human is going through a transitional phase. We turn it from carbon based, which give us our shades of brown to bone in color, to crystalline, which will give us a different physiological appearance over time. And in order to meet these needs, we have to have a certain frequency that's vibrating within our biology that allows the mitochondria to feed the DNA to convert the two-strand DNA into a crystalline processor instead of a carbon-based processor. And we will be downloading massive amounts of energy, and we'll be able to have our higher self as a personal tutor. Right. But it's based on your frequency that's going to allow you to adapt. If you are vibrating too low, you're going to have to come back if you're earthborn because you haven't done the self work required to raise your vibration.
Yeah, that's deep. Um, and when you say, it's two questions I want to ask with that. So when you say earthborn, can you kind of share with us what your definition of earthborn is and why that's significant to tonight's conversation?
Everybody on earth ain't from earth. That's just all I mean. Everybody on earth not from earth. You got interlopers. You got usurpers and underminers. Some of them come from a mirror dimension. Their genetics is backwards. They don't have a XY. They have a YX. They don't have a 2X male. They have female. They have a 2X male, right? You can look these conditions up. XY female, XX male. They got names for this stuff, but they from a mirror dimension. That's why they genetics mirror ours upside down and backwards. Everybody
Mm,
ain't from Earth, but the ones who was naturally tied to the Earth, they can't go nowhere else unless they leave by apparatus,
mm,
right? And the ones who don't belong here, Earth send that pitch out. That's over for them. Should have left
yeah,
when you had a chance. They had a
yeah.
big exodus from Antarctica about a year and a half ago. But they told us that it was a meteor shower. They didn't tell us it was thousands of ships leaving.
Hmm.
So they played the video in reverse.
Hmm. Yeah. And you know what's crazy? That reminds me of it reminds me of the, I don't know if you saw it or not. I want to say, shit, where was it at? I want to say it was in London about maybe a couple of months ago when they had a very significant, I would say, occurrence in the skies over London to where, and I got this in some of my research for one of the videos I'm gonna be putting out in regards to all this we're talking about. But it was like kind of like the Gayami symbol, but it was like a solar. It was a white, almost like identical version of this, except for minus the two middle parts, where it was like spinning in the sky in London, and it was like
That's
a
a
really
Dyson sphere.
okay.
That's
Can
a
you break?
Nibiru satellite.
And I talked about Nibiru Thursday. Can you
Be-
share what that satellite?
Before, look, when Nibiru is coming closer to the Earth, before they come, they always survey the Earth. And they got other planets that they do that with. The Dyson sphere is a satellite, right? They can actually use it, and they got a speaker system on there. And then they have what's called a telepathic communication system on there where they can talk to your mind without talking with words. And it carries a lot of power. It's the same, it's a biblical description of the angel, the Dyson sphere.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so now for the people who might not have never heard of Nibiru, which I'm pretty sure most people on here probably have, but there might be some people who haven't. Do you mind sharing, like, with the tribe who? Or
Nibiru, Nibiru is called the planet of the crossing. The scientists got several names for it. They call it Rilo 7. They call it Planet X. Um, the Dark Planet. It's a couple more names. I can't remember them all right now. But it's uh it's the second sun in our binary star system. Most of us don't know we live in a binary star system because the second star is got a different elliptical orbit than the Earth sun has. So when it goes through, it comes back at the close of every major cycle. Sometimes it comes back at different times based on the orbit, and it's a ship. They can navigate it, but it's also a sun called the black sun. But it's still another uh, astrological body that comes through periodically.
Yeah, that's deep. I was trying to pull it up too. I want to pull it up. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up on the screen, like kind of like a diagram of Nibiru and like what it looks like and what it entails. So with that, because for those who might be new to the concept of Nibiru, and also like for those who might know of Nibiru but not know the depths of the details, Nibiru ain't just like a craft or a ship. It's huge. It's actually about what the size of Earth, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere
You know,
in
it's like 1.5 times bigger than our sun.
right. So right now, with that, Nibiru won't technically be able to come into the planet because it's bigger than the planet. But Nibiru can how close can Nibiru come to planet Earth within our solar system?
Um, Several million miles. The orbit that it's on, we will be able to see it, and it'll almost look like you can reach out and touch it, especially in the Alaska area,
Hmm.
right? But it's not going to be as close as it look. It's just that it's that goddamn big.
Hmm. Yeah, and it moves with a it moves with a like what do you call it what do you call it when you move a procession? It moves in a procession where it
Mm-hmm.
has like I want to say like four like crafts or four winds that are on each four corners
Those,
of.
right. So those are the reconnaissance battleships that protects Nibiru. They call them the Four Winds, but they ships. They big as a planet, but it's a ship, right? Just like the Death Star in Star Wars, the ship is navigatable. You can steer it. So um, the first several times that since it's been in this orbit, it would throw the crust of the Earth into a flip. This is what broke Pangea up, and it would flip the crust of the Earth. Now they navigated the ship, so when it come through, you only would know by the core stop and reverse spin, which happened in January of 2024. But those are ships. Nibiru is a ship. Then they got lesser ships called motherships. That's
Mhm.
you know they can come into the Earth atmosphere. They small enough, but they still fucking huge,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right? And then they got cigar shaped craft. Those are primarily Inky's fleet.
Mm.
The ones that look like giant triangles is primarily the fleet of Enlil. But we don't have to worry about them no more because he been taken through the galactic courts and he confessed to all of the stuff he did,
Mm.
right? So his reign is over, right?
Yeah,
So all of his holdings now are liberated. They can be free will universes if they choose, or they can go back to being restricted will universes. Most of them want free will.
that's deep. That's real deal. I was trying to pull those. I was trying to pull the images in the bureau, but I don't want to get off track with keeping intact with the tribe and with the conversation. But I'll definitely have them for the next one. So now, let me see. We got a question. I think this one might be a relevant one. Well, all of
Yeah,
them
I'm
are
gonna
relevant.
say we coming up on 3 hours. We could take some questions from the audience from here.
Yeah. So let
Yeah,
me.
we'll check out in about 15 minutes or so.
I got you. Let's do it. So let me see. Nope, that's not the one. Hold on. Okay, this one right here. Let me see. Let's see what this question is. Has anyone heard about ET spaceships that regularly go inside or outside of the sun?
Yeah, NASA published a video 2017, 2018 of a giant craft siphoning energy from the sun. It was a big black orb. It was siphoning energy from the sun. Yeah, that was a big deal to the NASA team.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I got a question from Thursday, which is funny to me that you said that. You said it was a big deal for the NASA team. So we was chopping it up. Like I said, the conversation was similar, but we talked about a lot. We covered a lot of ground, but one of the questions was about whether or not, well, it started with the difference between mankind and human. That's where it started. But then we went into, one of the brothers was like, yo, so is that what they meant when they said one small step for man, one giant step for mankind? Like, can you, does that make any sense to you? And if so, what does that mean to you from your perspective?
Yeah, well, mankind is it's a um it's a code word for Indo-Europeans.
Hmm.
Well, not Indo, Neo-Europeans.
Hmm.
And man is the code term from uh, ancient humans. That's all. So you look at it like this: the babies on Earth is getting a chance to feel like they running something. Okay. Now that they done went through their catharsis and burnt off all of their psychopathic racial personality and the Iceman inheritance, they ready to join the rest of the humans as a spiritual being. The rights of ascension was the great debauchery, which was denied them the rights of ascension. Being denied the rights of ascension, this is why you have all these aliens here, because it's royal families from different systems that's trying to correct a genetic waste product by donating a drop of blood from one of the royal families throughout the galaxies.
Hmm.
That's why America got a one drop of blood doctrine, because we was the last ones to participate in the genetic cleanup through amalgamation.
But that's deep. That, oh my God, that's deep. Because now last week I had Professor Copper on here, and he broke down the significance of blood and why blood matters when you talk about bloodlines. And he didn't go into that part of it with the extraterrestrial aspect, but he definitely broke it down from a terrestrial aspect. But the
Right.
fact that he went into it from the extraterrestrial aspect, how does, because this has been a hot topic, or at least something that's been talked about quite frequently in the last couple of weeks and on the episodes on the show, how does Sirius play a role into all the stuff that's going on, like the Sirius star system of Canis Major
The dog star.
and the Dogon?
So that goes back to the Dogon cosmology, where they say their ancestors came from Sirius and seeded them here.
Hmm.
Right. That was an intermediary period from the beginning to a certain point that's older than modern recorded history. You gotta remember, the history that we are dealing with is only a 6,000 year history. Antediluvian history, ancient history, all of the stuff before 6,000 years, they call it prehistory. That means before they start being able to document a record, right? But the Syrians the dog star is the progenitors of the Dogon.
Right. And that would be the nomos, correct?
The nomos is the term for them, but when they call them nomos, my phone about to die. When they call them nomos, they talking about, because remember, they first landed at the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when they came out of the water, they wore the skins of fish.
Yep.
Right. It's just like on Earth when you wear the skin of a deer.
Yeah.
Same thing, different expression.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so they nomos. Nomos mean fish man.
That's, listen, look, I know the phone about to die, but this was dope. We about 3 hours in, man. Like I said, I knew this was gonna be one of them ones. I knew it was gonna be special. It was gonna be monumental. I really felt like my spirit. It made me feel like, and it's dope that we even hit that. But it really made me feel like when Suge got with Pac, when Pac came home and he went in, man. He did the double album with All Eyes on Me, and then Machiavelli, and it's like the way that everything's been moving. That's not a coincidence to me.
Since you brought that up, I want to remind everything what Tupac said on All Eyes on Me. Heard a rumor I died, murdered in cold blood, dramatized. Pictures of me in my final stages. Mama cried. That shit was fiction. Some coward got the story twisted, like I no longer existed, mysteriously missing. Right? He was telling you something. He was telling you something. Right before your very eyes, you won't even realize you can't see me. I'm standing right here and you can't see me. He was with Shock G at the All Eyes on Me premiere.
R.I.P. to Shock G. Shock G from my hood. He from Tampa.
Yeah. Look, you ain't got to R.I.P. Shock G. You can say until we see you in the future.
Yes, sir.
When Pac come back, he coming back with an entourage. It's gonna be they gonna call it the Dead Celebrity Ball.
Listen, and I just had a block party in heaven, and I'm telling you,
Look, the one that's gonna twist everybody cap back is a guy named Kurt Cobain.
Speak to him. Speak to him. Speak to him.